Okay, so we're going to look at the female reproductive structures, organs, and after that we're going to look at the perineum. So first, this is the bony component of the female pelvis. Okay, this is the bony component. So what do we have? So we have the ilium, pubis, ischium, the sacrum, and the coccyx that make up the boundaries of the pelvis. So the female reproductive organs, the viscera, are located in the cavity of this pelvis, and we have two cavities that make up the pelvis, right? You can tell me the. So we have two pelvis. We have
greater and lesser.
True and false pelvis, right? So this is the true pelvis here. This is the false pelvis. So demarcation, separation between the two pelvis is what?
Pelvic brim.
Pelvic brim. Okay, this is the pelvic brim. So this is the pelvic brim. So we have the arc. So what line do we have? We have the arcuate line here, and then we have in the ilium, and then we have the pubic line or pectum pubis. So these basically form the lateral, and then we have the body of the pubis. Okay, we have the pubic crest, and at the real front we have the symphysis pubis. So, and then at the back we have the sacral promontory here. This is sacral promontory. So most anterior is the symphysis pubis, most posterior is the sacral promontory. So if we connect these two lines on either side, we have the pelvic brim. And that demarcates the false pelvis from the true pelvis, or the greater pelvis or the lesser pelvis. So in the false pelvis, we don't include that as a pelvic area. Why? Because it's part of the abdominal cavities, and it is also referred to as the abdominal pelvic cavity. So the false pelvis is basically continues with the abdominal cavity, and it contains the coils of the small intestine and also large intestine. But the true pelvis is the area that we're really concerned. Where you have the female reproductive organs and then we have the gastrointestinal organ, which is the rectum and anal canal. So we have the urinary bladder, we have the uterus and fallopian tubes and ovaries, and then we have the rectum at the back. So this is the blood, or it's also referred to as what? The pelvic inlet. So this is the boundary of the pelvic inlet. Here, this area is the pelvic outlet. Okay. If you look at the pelvic outlet, so this is the boundaries. Okay, again, so in the pelvic inlet, the upper boundary is the upper border margin of this pubic symphysis. In the pelvic outlet is the lower boundary. Okay, lower boundary of the pubic symphysis, or symphysis pubis, and then we have the ischiopubic ramus, the arch, pubic arch, and then we have the ischial tuberosity on the lateral side. At the back here, we have what ligaments is this?
Tuberosacral.
Right, sacrotuberous. Sacrotuberous ligament. It comes from the sacrum and attached to the ischial tuberosity. Sacrotuberous ligament, and most posterior is the coccyx. So this is the boundary of the pelvic outlet. So below the pelvic outlet is the perineum. So as you can see, this is the perineum area here. So below the pelvic outlet, so we're talking about this area here. This area here is the perineum, and then we're going to look at that. And basically, the pelvic outlet is covered by this important muscle, which muscle is that? Levator ani muscle. Okay, levator ani muscle, pelvic floor. So basically, this area is covered by a cup-like or circular. Okay, ball or funnel-like, okay, muscle, and that muscle is the levator ani muscle, and the coccygeus muscle, and that forms what? The pelvic floor, okay, or pelvic diaphragm, or pelvic floor. So basically, the organ basically sits on this pelvic floor. It sits on this primarily levator ani. Okay, so, and below this pelvic floor, we have the perineum. And that perineum, you have two spaces, two pouches that make up the perineum. You have deep perineal pouch and superficial perineal pouch. Okay, so it's like you have the deep perineal pouch, superficial perineal pouch, and then you have the skin at the back. So you have the skin, superficial perineal pouch, and you have the deep perineal pouch. Beneath the deep perineal pouch is this pelvic floor, which is the levator A line. So I want you to get